That's why R1 should be different than S1?
Well, R1s are smaller parcels. S1's 1 acre minimum.
Rec 1's got really intensive recreational uses that are permitted without any further entitlement. S1 is a residential. I mean, I don't know, we didn't really discuss exactly, but recreation was limited because there's so many other campground uses and all kinds of other uses.
Right, well, like my R1 zoning is actually a pasture, you know, and we have plenty of water, so,
Yours is unusual.
you know.
Most recreation is in recreation areas.
Right, well, I'd like to urge you to allow it in Rec 1 also. And and what is going to be involved with a special use permit? So many of these zonings require a special use permit, but we don't know what that entails.
So I think there's a handout in back that will describe that better, but it's a discretionary permit. It undergoes environmental review, and there's a public hearing, and custom conditions can be applied to this particular circumstances for compatibility issues. It has appeal rights to the board, and it has it can go to lawsuits. But the important thing about a discretionary permit is it can be said no to.
And that's up to you.
Well, if I was a zoning administrator hearing it, would be a zoning administrator decision, yes, appealable to the board. Whereas a ministerial permit where you set standards, and if you meet the standards, we're obliged to issue it. So you can set standards for both, but the use permit allows your neighbors to be notified that something's going on.
Right. So if one of your neighbors doesn't like the smell of marijuana, is that going to give you the reason to deny a permit?
You know,
We don't know what we're
it's
getting
based on the circumstances of the permit and the issues. Could that be mitigated in some way? It's too hypothetical to answer.
Right. Well, I think we need to nail down the special use permit. For example, fire-safe driveways, you could decide to throw that in.
No, it's in there already. Ralph says it isn't, but you have to do a fire-safe driveway.
Well, there's so many places in this county that don't have fire-safe driveways.
They would have issues.
That are grandfathered in. And now you're going to say, okay, you got to have a fire-safe driveway.
There's no grandfather.
Okay, your 3 minutes is up. Hey, I don't want this to be a question and answer session.
Oh, okay.
We want to hear your remarks and your
Okay, well,
comments and your
we need
concerns.
to nail down the special use permit process and costs.
There's a handout in the back.
I got the handout already. It doesn't clarify it very much. Thank you.
Thank you. You, sir.
I'm Carl Spang. I'm from Indian Valley, Kevin Goss's area. I've been growing there for 7 years in the open. I have 7 generations of my bloodline that have called Plumas County home. And we've all grown, all the way back to my great-grandfather. I wanted to address some of the concerns that I've heard in here of wildlife. I have deer that come into my garden. They don't bother plants. They help me eat the grass and weeds away from my plant. It takes exactly 2.3 gallons of water a day per plant. I use measured water, I know, measured water system. That's less than you put on your lawns, folks. Yeah. So when you hear things of 11 gallons and 12 gallons a plant, where are they growing it at? In the desert somewhere? Look, I have a well. It supplies 2 houses on our property, our garden, and my cannabis grow. I have had no problems with it. Water has not dropped. It will not drop. I don't know where this fear of growing is coming from. It's an industry that has a multitude of arms that can produce income and jobs. I currently pay 4 different people 8 months out of the year in my cannabis grow, out of my pocket. I grow medical marijuana, and I supply to about 15 people that can't afford to get it. 12 of which are vets, just like me, disabled vets. If you let it go, you control the grows, you don't have to worry about cartels. But you let it stay like it is, they're willing to risk, what, getting arrested and sent back to Mexico for $1 million crop. I'd just like to grow a $30,000 crop, 1/4 acre. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Lee Firestone, and my partner and I own and operate a medical collective in a warehouse in an industrial zone in Plumas County, just outside of Chester. Golden State Cannabis Medical Collective provides organically grown medical cannabis for its members 12 months out of the year. Our eco-steady technology has an environmentally friendly footprint. Live fish swim in tanks and provide the nutrition for the plants, conserving 90% of the water in the system. Plants grow under LED lights that use 2/3 less power than conventional lights. We use no added chemical nutrients or pesticides. Last year, the Intermountain region that includes Plumas produced 4 million pounds of cannabis, nearly equal to the North Coast region that produced the most in the state, 4.15 million pounds. The population of California is 40 million, 8 times that of Colorado. Estimated sales of cannabis in California starting in 2018 are $3 billion within our state alone. If Plumas County opts for legal cultivation, it will be able to share in that economy. Thank you.
Thank you. In the back. Somebody raise their hand back
Howdy. Just want to say the people that want this to pass are not the problem. They're the ones that want to be operating under the legal standards of the law, pay taxes, and be productive members of our community, which generally most of us already all are. If this gets voted out, it's just going to shortchange Plumas County, and the real problem is going to go away, which is the cartels and things of environmental impact. I just want to say I'm an organic farmer. I'm very aware of water conservation. I'm very aware of my carbon footprint. I'm very aware of my ecosystem, the animals that live in it. I'm not here to rub my neighbors the wrong way, nor my environment. I'm here just to live and maintain my life, as one with everybody. I just want the same opportunities as any other farmer. I just want the same opportunities as any other farmer or any other business. Colorado has generated $500 million in taxes and fees since its legalization, and $2 million in its first year. One town in Colorado with a population of 5,300, similar to ours, has generated $1.4 million in sales tax revenues, with 20% of this annual budget going back to the community for road repairs, renovating schools, new techs, new squad cars and equipment for the police department, a $10 million courthouse, and even some of the money is being used for scholarships for the local high schools. I just want to say, if we're given the opportunity to regulate this in the right way, I feel like we can all benefit greatly. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Me.
You?
So, my name's admin. We know my position. What I came here to support was the fact that I find, as a professional, that the California Draft Environmental Impact Report is a complete piece of fiction. It uses inflammatory language to associate certain things that we're all worried about, wastewater disposal, floodplain management, that type of thing. And in the end, it says that there are no significant impacts. So we all know that is not true. Our best defense against EIRs that have come through this county, specifically Lake Davis 1 and 2, where they failed to read the label and people were poisoned. There's the Monterey Agreement, where they failed to include the upper counties that supply the Feather River to the tune of 7 million acre-feet of water. And there's FERC 2105, my personal favorite, where CEQA was allowed to not be evaluated correctly, and PG&E has their license to generate electricity. So I have personal problems, just like everyone. I can't find employment, but I own land, and I would like to exercise that right. But specifically, I'd like to talk to the people who are scared about the school children, because when my kid got caught with pot at school, there were plenty of people there. The principal, all the teachers, the baseball coach that kicked him off the team, the police, everyone was there. The person that was not there was the charter school / homeschooler that provided the substance. So yes, I grow marijuana. I have a license to grow marijuana. My kid is not using that. I think that we need an ordinance to protect us from the state, and I trust all of you to see to that.
Thank you. My name is Mark Mitchell from Indian Valley, and I've got several questions, and I don't really need an answer because obviously you guys, well, anyway, I know where you stand. Okay, first of all, why have all the other counties surrounding us said no to this? Are they smarter than you guys or our supervisors? Question. Where are we going to get the police force to handle all the crime that's going to be brought into this county? And you know doggone well that there's going to be a lot of it. What about my property values? I grew up in the Bay Area, and I watched that place down there turn into a cesspool because of garbage just like this. Property values are going to go down unless we sell to some dope growers. The garbage that these guys bring in, it's unbelievable, the garbage that they leave. And do you think that the taxes, first of all, how many of these dope growers are going to pay taxes? It's going to be a cash crop. They're going to put it in their pocket. There's not going to be any taxes paid on it. The wetlands. Where does the water come from to water these wetlands? They come from the mountains. And if there's dope growing in that stuff, what's going to happen to that? What's going to happen? It's going to dry up the wetlands. I don't know if you guys have kids or grandkids. I've got a granddaughter that was a heroin addict. She started with marijuana. Marijuana is a gateway drug. And I don't care what anybody says, it's a gateway drug. I know that for a personal fact. You guys want your grandkids to grow up as dope addicts? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. And by the way, our Creator did not create us with whatever this gentleman over here said we have in our bodies. Because in the Bible that I read states, talks against sorceries. The Greek word for sorceries is pharmakeia. Figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll say it again one more time. I don't want anybody talking or mumbling back there. You got that? Okay.
Can I just say one last thing? I can say it from right here, and actually didn't get to say it, kind of skipped over it. There is 0 documented cases of cannabis killing somebody. Legal prescription drugs kills over 100,000 people per year.
Hello, my name is Ken Donnell. I'm a resident of Greenville. I own several properties and operate multiple businesses here in Plumas County. I'm working very hard to try and create a sustainable local economy here in Greenville and in Plumas County in general. Believe me, that's a tough job, a very tough job. I have a written statement here that I'll present, so I'll bring that up after I speak. But I've recently begun a new business called Plumas Cannabis Connections to help make this transitional process for cannabis in Plumas County a more successful and broadly supported activity by all county citizens, hopefully. And I support the draft ordinance as overall a sound guide for the final ordinance. I do have 3 small suggestions, which I'll mention later. But personally, I'm extremely excited about what cannabis can do if well regulated and well permitted for Plumas County. I believe that the positive impacts are huge and the potential negative impacts are very small. And we're transiting from a black market economy where the business practices were highly corrupted by that black market. We're moving towards an open, regulated, free market economy, capitalism, free enterprise, the things that our economy in this country have been built upon. And these can have many, many positive impacts for us here. And as we move towards this free, regulated, open market, almost all of the problems that have been described here in this room tonight will disappear just by free market, regulated, permitted, free market forces. So I ask people to trust the free market and capitalism upon which our nation has been founded. It's going to work for us here. I believe that if local cultivation of cannabis at the agricultural level is wisely pursued and supported, the cannabis industry could become the largest job creator in Plumas County and generate millions of dollars each year in local taxes and fees. Now, as far as what I do recommend changes from the draft ordinance, number one, I believe that it's probably not a good idea to have cultivation of cannabis in suburban residential zoned areas. Like any commercial activity is not allowed in these types of zoning. More important, I feel that in order to protect us from outside entities coming in and trying to bring a huge grow operation into this county, we need to have some protection. So that is that I would like to see that acreage restrictions for permits in agricultural zoned lands, which are applicable at the starting date of this ordinance, shall apply to all newly permitted parcels in the future. Thank you very much.
Next.
Hello. Evening. My name is Bob Orange. I'm a resident of Greenville. Grew up in Plumas County. I'm a retired game warden. I work here in this area. And I'll flat out say over 35 years ago, I pulled my first illegal grow as a game warden. And I've seen firsthand the environmental destruction that takes place with illegal grows that take place out there. I see both sides of the coin. talked before, you folks at Chester, Greenville, over in Portola, about here this evening with a different perspective. I'm just going to go over the facts real quick. The proposed ordinance that was put forward by this cannabis committee allows 2,500 square feet of commercial growing of marijuana if a person has a third of an acre. This includes a house lot in a residential neighborhood. Each cannabis plant takes up roughly 4 by 4 or 16 square feet per plant. This would allow for 156 plants for every yard in a residential neighborhood such as Quincy and East Quincy, regardless of what the immediate neighbor thinks. If you have 3 acres, such as on Chandler Road, Meadow Valley, or LaPorte Road, then you're allowed around 600 plants. Again, regardless of what your neighbor thinks. This is what this proposed ordinance put forward. What this cannabis committee has done is just thrown a whole lot of mud on a wall and see what would stick. You gave no thought to the purpose of established planning procedures and zoning and other, see how many plants we could commercially grow in each area. The attitude seemed to be everyone wants commercially grow cannabis regardless of what the zoning is. It allows virtually growing everywhere, including 1,000 plant plantations. Much is being touted about how much economic growth and taxes this will bring to the county. This product grown here will be sold out of county, so we do not receive any sales tax as a result. You could have added a canopy tax for plants to indeed produce income to the county, but chose not to include it in this proposed ordinance. Instead, preferred more profit to the growers and to heck with county infrastructure. This ordinance only creates more work for the sheriff's office, road department, health, schools, with no additional funds coming through. Has to place on the back of the additional tax of the existing taxpayers we have. Heck, the failed commercial grow experiment in Calaveras County even charged a small canopy tax, which in the end was not enough to offset the negative impacts of commercial grows on the residents. Could have done that here, did not. This ordinance was structured knowing full well it would create additional strain with no additional funds. No consideration was given to the existing residents or the public. Thought nobody would notice, but we have. There's no doubt in my mind that we're thinking the general public, only for the commercial growers. That's wrong. No commercial growing.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hang on, one for you. One right.
See how fast I can talk. My name is Scott Corey. I've lived in this county for 20 years. I have no interest in this product or in growing it, but I do favor adult use and prudent commercial production. I'm interested in 3 provisions for this ordinance. 1 having to do with tax and 2 having to do with security. I think there should be an earmark for a portion of the taxes and fees to support a reserve sheriff program. I think a security plan should be required to get a commercial permit. And I think that that requirement should initially, at least, be satisfied by showing a contract with a private security firm that would employ at least 80% of its staff as reserve sheriffs. Why? First of all, the earmark on the tax makes a lot of sense. There's nothing unusual about expecting any commerce to shoulder some of the support for the cost of its market. And the reserve program would be much